Namaskar, I'm Harpreet Kaur and I welcome you all to our live and interactive online training program of ours. You're watching us on PME Vidya channel 6 to 12 and also on our YouTube channel NCERT Official. This live and interactive training program of ours is conducted under the umbrella theme of digital initiatives for transforming education. Well, we are living in an age where we cannot think of education without the use of digital technology, internet, and we are integrating technology, when it comes to making students learn various subjects because we know this is the future. We are living in an era where we want to encourage equity and inclusivity, and therefore we need to use the digital tools that are available for us. There's a lot of research and content and of course lot of experimentation out there which of course you can use, and it comes really handy when it comes to preparing for examinations, also when it comes to sharpen your skills, enhancing your creativity, your reasoning and problem solving skills as well. Now, today, what we're going to learn, because we are in day 3 of the training session and the topic that we have taken is Virtual Skill Lab. Now, what is this Virtual Skill Lab? We all have learned about physical laboratories. We have seen them work there. We understand the setup. But what about this Virtual Skill Lab? Everything will be shared with you in a detail in this training session of ours, but you need to be very attentive and you can always get in touch with us. You can give us a call, write an email or send us a message because there is going to be an assessment on the last day of the training session, and if you want to be a part of it, if you want to attempt it, if you want to get yourself a certificate, you need to learn every concept very attentively. Now, how you can reach out to us? Please take down our phone number, which is 8800 We also have a dedicated email ID for you, and that is training.helpdesk@ciet.nic.in. Last but not the least, we are streaming live on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. Now, it is very important to note here that this program is organized by Central Institute of Educational Technology, that is CIET NCERT New Delhi. So who's there with us, who's going to enlighten us with this concept of Virtual Skill Lab? Of course, there are going to be many questions and we request you to kindly send us your questions on our live chat box. That is there on our YouTube handle NCERT Official, and please do not mark your attendance. So please join me in welcoming our guest for today's Day 3 session titled Virtual Skill Lab. We are joined by Dr. V.S. Mehrotra. Sir, namaskar and a
Namaskar.
very warm welcome to the session.
Namaskar and a very good afternoon to all of you.
And let me
Uh,
tell everybody that Sir is a professor from PSS, Central Institute of Vocational Education, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. And Sir, before you start your presentation and before I ask you questions, I want you to offer us a glimpse of what exactly we are going to learn in today's session. What will be the key points that you'll be focusing on? So what is going to be the highlight of the session?
Thank you, Harpreet ji, for that introduction. I'm going to talk about virtual skill labs
Okay.
today. And as Harpreet ji has already mentioned, that virtual skill labs are very important in today's technological world where
Yeah.
we have limitations in terms of getting access to the physical labs.
Yeah.
Empowering learnings through technology driven skill education. That
Hmm.
is the main objective of developing these virtual
True.
skill labs by us. These skill labs have been developed in association with the Central Institute of Educational Technology under the behest of the Ministry of Education, Government of India.
Okay.
And EDSIL was also involved in the development of these virtual skill labs.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll be talking about these virtual skill labs in detail,
Okay.
and I would request audience to ask as many questions as they want on this virtual skill labs, because this is for
Absolutely.
the first time that we are doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You must have all heard about virtual labs,
Hmm.
about O labs, but these are very different kinds of labs because we are focusing on development of skills, which is very important in today's world,
Right.
because without skill you cannot survive today, like living skills, life skills, 21st century skills, vocational skills, technical skills, employability skills. These are all very important skills for getting employed or starting our own venture. And that is why National Education Policy 2020 has overwhelmingly emphasized on the importance of vocational education, on skill education. So every child who leaves the school should acquire some or the other skill, or at least a skill set, before they leave the school. So that is why we have to find alternative ways of teaching and training our students,
Right.
through digital means, through blended mode, through online learning. And that is why we are all here together, through this online networking platform, where we are talking about so many things.
Hmm.
And this is one aspect which today we are going to talk about, is the virtual skill labs. To
Right.
start with the why we have started this project. Now, Government of India has allocated budget for development of 100 virtual skill labs, and National Education Policy 2020 has emphasized that the existing e-learning platforms such as Diksha, Swam, Swam Prabha, will also be leveraged for creating virtual labs, so that all students have equal access to quality practical and hands-on experiment-based learning experiences. So what is the advantage of this virtual skill lab? In the absence of the physical labs, students can learn the cognitive skills. May not be the psychomotor skills, but the cognitive skills of doing things, practicing using computer. For example, when we are training a pilot, we
Hmm.
take him or her to a simulator
Yeah.
where they learn about the how to fly an aeroplane. So they learn about the various components of the cockpit and how to operate the various, the machines that are available in the cockpit. So this is how they are trained first, and then they go to the actual aeroplane
Yes.
where they start flying, and they have to complete certain hours of flying before they become a commercial pilot or a passenger pilot or whatever it is. So this step is that the first step is simulation. So they learn in a simulation environment, and then they go to the actual field. And this is what we have adopted in these virtual skill labs, where, for example, if you want to learn about tissue culture, you learn about uh, the process of tissue culture, how to prepare MS medium, how to transfer a callus, how to grow it into a plant, how to transfer it into a polyhouse for hardening process, and then take it to the field. So this is what the students would learn from these virtual skill labs,
Hmm.
and that is why NEP 2020 has emphasized that in the absence of the physical labs, we need to provide alternative ways of learning. So it's going to be a very useful teaching strategy for the teachers and a learning strategy for the learners.
Right.
NEP 2020 also talks about the possibility of providing adequate access to SEDGs, that
G.
is, socially, economically disadvantaged groups. Students and teachers, through suitable digital devices such as tablets with preloaded content, will be considered and developed. That means we can preload these virtual skill labs on the laptops or the tablets and give it to the students so that they keep on learning through this digital mode. Now, what are these virtual skill labs? If I go by the definition, they provide interactive and immersive learning experiences for skill development, especially the cognitive skill development. Now, here I would like to tell you that when we talk about skill development, there are three stages of skill development. The first stage is cognitive stage, where you develop the cognitive skills of the child. The second is the practice fixation stage, where you need to practice a lot, just like when we are learning how to ride a bicycle.
Hmm.
So we are told about the system knowledge, that these are the parts of a bicycle, like the brakes, the pedal, then the tires, tubes, and spokes, and all those things we are told. Then we are asked to sit on the seat of the bicycle, right?
Hmm.
There we start paddling, balancing, and this is the psychomotor stage where you learn how to drive a bicycle. The third stage is the autonomous stage, where when you are practicing a lot, you excel in that particular field. Just like if you practice a lot of how to ride a bicycle, you'll be able to balance, you'll be able to apply brakes on time, you'll avoid accidents and all those things. So that is why we have to take every child through these three stages of skill development. And these virtual skill labs will provide interactive and immersive learning experience for skill development at this stage. And then when they get an opportunity, they can go to the physical labs and then learn how to handle various
Right.
equipment, tools, machines, and all. And it will be very easy for them
Mm-hmm.
to work on those machines. So these are designed to complement traditional learning with digital simulations and artificial intelligence powered tools. Now we are talking a lot about AI applications.
Mm-hmm.
And through these virtual skill labs, students will learn how to use AI for assessment, for developing different kinds of applications. So we have developed a number of virtual skill labs in different sectors, and we are continuously working on this project, adding on the numbers of the virtual skill labs that are required in the different sectors of economy. So the main objectives of the VSLs are to enhance experiential learning through digital tools, provide hands-on skill training in various vocational and technical domains, bridge the gap between theory and practice in skill-based education, ensure accessibility for learners in remote and undeserved or underserved areas. So we have to also ensure that we need to reach the every doorstep of the learner. So how we reach that? Through digital means, because uh, accessibility to the schools for many of these children is not there, and we have to ensure that every child learns, and through digital means we can easily approach them. So support self-paced and adaptive learning for diverse learners. So we have to also support self-paced and adaptive learning for a variety of learners. So we have like children with different abilities or children with special needs. So for them, these virtual skill labs would be very useful. So this is how we have to enable an environment where every child learns, and these virtual skill labs are going to be very helpful in that process. Now, coming to the accessibility to these virtual skill labs. So, you have to go to the Diksha platform where we have uploaded all these virtual skill labs. The CIT has uploaded all these virtual skill labs on Diksha platform, which is digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing. It's a national platform for school education initiated by the Ministry of Education, Government of India, and it is being maintained by the Central Institute of Educational Technology, NCERT, New Delhi. Uh, I'm happy to tell you that we have also got a separate vertical on vocational education on Diksha, where you can access the curricula, the vocational curricula, vocational textbooks, and videos developed by the PSS Central Institute of Vocational Education. So very soon you will see a lot of resource material on vocational education on Diksha platform, including this virtual skills labs. Right now, coming to the link. So the question that you can ask is, how do I get to this VSLs? So this is the link where you have to go and then get the access to Diksha platform, and also the a lot of resources which are available, including this virtual skill labs. Now, who are the target audience that basically we have? Everyone can use these virtual skill labs, but we have targeted the school students, especially for vocational education training courses that are already being offered in schools. I'm happy to tell you that more than 30,000 schools in our country, the government schools in our country, are offering vocational subjects along with the general education subjects. And these courses uh, are job role based, and these are in 22 sectors. So more than 100 vocational subjects are being offered in these schools. So now students have the choice uh, to opt for any of these vocational subjects and uh, go for a very well informed career options at a later stage. So suppose I want to become a drone operator.
Uh-huh.
So I can opt for a vocational subject for Kisan drone or drone technician, and I can get into this drone technology,
Hmm.
which is upcoming sector today. It is drones are being used in so
Yes.
many ways.
True.
Photography, agriculture, aerospace, for delivery of food,
Hmm.
a courier service. So
Even
those
in
things are happening.
celebrations.
Yeah. So, so these things are happening very fast, and the students have to be trained
Hmm.
uh, to fulfill the gap of the skill shortages which is happening, because we are not able to train so many youth to cater to the demands of the jobs in these upcoming sectors like artificial intelligence, data analytics, robotics, internet of things. These are the upcoming areas, and every youth should acquire certain skills related to the sector if they want to stay in those jobs, or they get upskilled. They want to get upskilled, they need to learn through these short-term courses or virtual skill labs.
Especially when we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat.
Yes, very much right you are.
Yeah.
So we have Atmanirbhar Bharat. When we are saying, so how are we going to become Atmanirbhar?
Hmm.
By developing all that knowledge, skills, and attitude. Now
Yeah.
attitude is also very important.
Hmm.
That is why what Mahatma Gandhi has once said, that he gave the concept of 3H. That
Hmm.
means you need to link head, heart, and hands.
Yeah.
So when we talk about knowledge, we are just linking the head and heart,
Yes.
but we forget about hands.
Hmm.
But vocational education actually helps us to link all these three.
Yes.
And that is why every child should work with hands in
Hmm.
schools or
True.
colleges or university. So learning by doing should be the mantra.
Absolutely.
And when you go to the world of work, employers look for people who have not just acquired the skills, but also have developed the right kind of attitude,
Yes.
positive attitude, employability skills like communication skills, critical thinking, decision making, problem solving, taking initiatives.
Yes.
All these skills are being looked upon by the employers. And so that is why we need to train our teachers and educators
True.
for this kind of skill enhancement. So they need to visit these virtual skill labs and learn more about these various skills in different sectors. And today, when we are talking about multidisciplinary learning or
Hmm.
teaching learning, then it becomes all the more important that they go through these virtual skill labs and develop that kind of knowledge in diverse areas and get that skill of multidisciplinary approach.
Absolutely, because we are promoting, encouraging innovation, creativity. We are talking about Skill
Yes,
India. We are encouraging startups to come forward and showcase the unique talent that they have. So I think it
right,
all comes down to one single thing, that you need to develop those skills and virtual skills that you're talking about, because this is the time and age of AI, chat
right.
GPT, automated machinery, and all those things that you mentioned, robotics, drones. In fact, so many treatments, major surgeries are happening through the use of
Yes.
robotics. Then why not, integrating that in our daily life as well?
So when you talk about medical, earlier we used to go for X-rays,
Yeah.
and they used to take out the plate and developer. They used to use developer and develop the film,
Hmm.
and then it was sent to the doctor. Doctor used to look at. Today, what is happening? It's all digital scanning, which is
Yes.
happening now. And a doctor sitting on his table, looking at his computer, can see what has been the result of the scanning. Now, this is the kind of digitalization which is taking place, automation.
Hmm.
And robots are getting into various domains like restaurants, and you might all have seen videos on that. So the challenge is, how do we transform ourselves
Yes.
with the changes in technology? How do we upskill ourselves or reskill ourselves to keep pace with the technological advancements? So that is why these kinds of virtual skill labs will actually help every learner to acquire those skills from time to time and um, keep pace with the technological advancements. Institutions aiming to integrate digital skill learning. So there are very few institutions who have very advanced technology. So they need to build advanced technologies like AI-driven softwares. They should acquire. They should acquire the advanced computers with the latest configurations in order to provide opportunities to the students as well as the teachers to learn through these virtual skill labs. So, the key features of this virtual skill lab is that we have provided interactive simulation, so digital environments replicating real world scenarios. So, when I talk about IoT automation in agriculture, I'll be showing that in detail later on. So, how do we link the automation with the shown in on the computer with the real world scenarios? Similarly, for other areas like apparel or digital marketing or in banking, online banking or warehousing, supply chain management. So all these real world scenarios have been linked with the virtual scenarios here to provide an
Absolutely.
interactive simulation environment.
Absolutely.
We-
Time and again, you're talking about interactive simulations, and since we're talking about the transformation of education in a big way through the use of digital technology, how can we forget that today we're talking about augmented reality and virtual reality? These are immersive
Right,
technologies making content really engaging, interactive, and joyful for the learners.
right. So gamification assessment.
Yeah.
So uh, children enjoy, answering questions when it is gamified
Yes.
in the game form, like the when you divide it into levels, like level one, two, three, four. So they have a challenge there, and they would like to answer to get into the next level. So this is where we have given like engaging tasks, quizzes, and skill assessment and evaluation challenges there. So we would be seeing the progress of the child rather than saying in terms of the percentage or marks or the scores. Rather, we should take the feedback and then uh, give them another set of questions, and so that when they answer, they can also understand whether they have progressed well or not. So, progressing in an environment is more important rather than scoring marks. Scoring marks is just a part of the evaluation, but then the assessment should be such that it really assesses the progress of the child in terms of learning. So, learning outcomes have been defined for each of these virtual skill labs. Now, coming to the content of the virtual skill labs, as you can see, I have shown only three of them, where you can see we have the introduction link, concept link, simulation link, and text link. So these are across all, I mean, common across all the virtual skill labs that we have uploaded on the Diksha. Now, I'll give you one example in detail so that you understand how this whole thing works. So, I've taken the sector agriculture because
Okay.
without agriculture, we cannot survive. And agriculture is the mainstay of our country. So, more than 50% people are still employed as part of their livelihood in agriculture.
Yes.
Now, many of the farmers' son, they don't want to become farmers. Why? Because it is a drudgery. They have apprehensions of working with hands, dirtying their hands. There are a lot of other issues. It is not that paying as compared to becoming engineers, doctors, getting into civil services, and all those things. So what we have to do, we have to automate agriculture, like what countries like Israel has done, Switzerland. They have automated agriculture.
Hmm.
So the children or the youth don't have to really dirty their hands. So they are using machines, they
Yeah.
are using drones, they are using micro irrigation system. So this is how they are operating various machines, using computers.
Hmm.
So what we have to do, we have to train our students on these aspects, and that is why one of the skill labs that we have developed is on IoT based agriculture automation. And as I mentioned earlier, there are six components of it: introduction video, concept video, simulation, assessment, assignment, and text. Now, coming to the automation in agriculture, you have to go like this. I've taken the screenshots of these so that gives you a fair idea when you start clicking on those hyperlinks. How are you going to move?
Hmm.
So, what will you learn? So, this means the learning outcomes.
Yeah.
What are you going to learn? And this is very important aspect. And NEP 2020 has also emphasized that we need to look at the learning outcomes rather than just the learning objectives. What this child has actually learned after the session or
Hmm.
after this going through this virtual skill labs. So, for example, they will be able to set up cooler humidifiers to regulate humidity levels. They will be able to install and configure a drip irrigation system for efficient water delivery. They will be able to implement an artificial lighting system
Yeah.
for optimal plant growth. They will be able to adjust environmental parameters to maintain ideal growing conditions. So, this is what we expect, that after going through the virtual skill labs, the students would be able to learn all these things. Then we have given the about the simulation. So, this is basically how you move in terms of the simulation, which is the very important aspect of this virtual skill lab.
Hmm.
Now, just to give you a glimpse of what are the various components of this automation, IoT based automation in agriculture, there's a introductory video. So I've given a screenshot of that.
Hmm.
There's a concept video. Why concept video? Because concept video tells you about what, why, when, where. All these questions are addressed to this concept video. See, for example, we have given the definition of this. Automation simplifies tasks by using technology to perform them without constant human intervention. So, why do we actually need automation? Because if you don't have automation, you may make mistakes.
Hmm.
You may skip certain tasks, but when automated, the task is regularly performed, and it also simplifies the task, because as I mentioned earlier, that there are certain tasks which causes drudgery. You don't feel like doing it. You have to really dirty your hands, and you need a lot of power to do those things. But machines or automations can easily simplify those tasks and make them much easier
True.
without the constant human interventions. Like if you go to a factory of any cars now, so they
Hmm.
have automated system where a steel plate is lifted by the robots or the machines, and a car comes out ultimately. So that kind of automation is happening. So there's a whole assembly line where the components are being assembled. Uh, the 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 employees are sitting at the computer and they are operating all these machines there. So that kind of automation has already happened in many of those factories. The same way, if we put it in the agriculture, then we can, within a small acre of land or hectare of land, we can easily produce much more than in a larger land. So that is another advantage of automation. So this concept video will actually help children to understand the importance of automation in agriculture, and it will also answer most of their questions which they might be having in their mind. Then uh, taking you to the simulation aspect, where you can opt for the task that you would like to learn about.
Hmm.
Uh, so cooler humidifier systems, drip irrigation system, and lighting system. Now, what happens here is when you enter into the when you continue here into the simulation, you will get all these instructions. Like if you see there, uh, you can see the fan or the humidifiers, the cooler humidifiers, the different variety of them, the monitoring system, the sensors, the water valves, and all those things will be given there. So what you have to do when you move the mouse, and they'll ask you that now which fan would you like to put it in your poly house,
Hmm.
right? Again, then which like you can see here,
Right.
select the design of the fan. So if you are right in your way of doing it, then it will accept. Otherwise, it will say no, this fan is not going to work here, right? This is how the children will learn. Similarly, the porous cardboards.
Hmm.
Now, in order to maintain humidity in the poly house, you need these porous cardboards. So these once they will be asking you how to install them. So once you have installed, then you will be also installing the piping system there, and how it is going to be automated in terms of humidifying the whole poly house. This is about simulation. Now coming to the assessment. Now these assessments are based on the learning outcomes, and we have categorized into three parts. So we have basically developed the rubrics for that, and then these assessment questions are divided into basic, intermediate, advanced. So when you proceed, just like I mentioned about gamification, when you keep on proceeding, you go to the higher levels. So same way, so setting up a cooler humidifier system, like that drip irrigation system. Now we have also given the assignments. Now once you have completed these question answers,
Hmm.
you will get a set of questions or the assignments which you need to do. Like
Okay.
what issues may occur in the greenhouse as a result of the lighting system being improperly installed.
Hmm.
So if you have actually gone through the simulation, you will learn all these things, or you can go to the actual physical greenhouse or poly house and learn about it, come back, do this assignment.
Right.
It is like reflective questions which have been given. So once you experience the whole thing through hands-on learning, then you come back and do these assignments.
Hmm.
These are also scenario-based assignments. So, for example, a farmer has implemented an IoT-based system to monitor soil moisture and weather, but his crop yields haven't improved. How can he identify and fix the issues
Hmm.
and optimize IoT for better results? So until and unless you have learned the concept, you cannot answer these scenario-based questions.
Right.
That is why a mix of lower order as well as higher order questions have been included in this. Now, in the text, we have given a lot of information in terms of the benefits of automation in agriculture. Like it improves efficiency, it reduces the labor cost, it helps in precision farming, sustainability. You can do it by 24 by 7, so machines and automated systems can work continuously, even in harsh conditions.
Hmm.
So this is what we have given in. So this I gave you an overview of the content of a particular virtual skill labs. Now, what are those sectors that we have covered? I'll quickly go through that. And
Yes.
we are adding on these sectors. We are
Okay.
keeping on uploading these virtual skill labs as on we are getting them from the source. So the sector is like agriculture, apparel, made-ups, and home finish. Now you can see introduction to embroidery through single head, introduction to CAD software for embroidery designs,
Yeah.
banking, finance, and insurance. We have introduction to digital banking.
True.
For online banking services, we have the virtual skill labs. Then for green building, now green technology, green jobs, green skills have to be
Yes.
promoted for a greener economy. We are all suffering because of air pollution, noise pollution. So we have to reduce all these
Hmm.
things.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So how do we do that? Every child should learn. Every youth should be involved into this green technology.
Yes.
How to maintain our environment and resources, because if we keep on using the resources like this, one day it's not going to,
Of course.
last.
We have to think about sustainable development as well.
Yes,
And
SDGs, what we call the Sustainable
yes,
Development Goals, which are
um,
17 goals that we
true.
need to look.
Sir,
Yeah.
actually, we are left with very little time and we do have
Yeah, I'll
questions for
just
you.
quickly finish
Sure.
this. Yeah,
Oh,
that's just 1 minute I'll take.
okay.
Air conditioning and refrigeration,
Hmm.
electronics and technology. So, introduction to Adreno. This has become very popular among the school students. Instrumentation, automation, surveillance, and communication. Introduction to 3D printing, logistics, where we have warehouse, media entertainment, we have game design, development, and production. Organized retail, we have supply chain management. Now, what is the implementation approach that we are taking now? Once this is all done, we'll be training the trainers, the
Hmm.
teachers, the teacher educators on how to use these virtual skill labs. We'll also be continuously monitoring the learner's progress and course effectiveness. We'll be integrating it with the various vocational subjects
Hmm.
through the teachers and teacher educators, and then we'll be monitoring their progress. What are the benefits of virtual skill apps? Scalability, cost effectiveness, flexibility, industrial relevance, inclusivity, and thank you very much for that patient hearing.
Thank you so much, sir. It was indeed a delightful and an eye opening presentation, I must say. And through your presentation, we learned about one of the most important digital initiatives for transforming education, that is, of course, a virtual skill lab. But you talked about accessibility. That means making education accessible to one and all, connecting the last mile learner, or making education available at the student's doorstep. Now, how do you suggest that we stay motivated and manage our time effectively, especially when we are learning remotely? Because when you are in a conventional system of learning, things are pretty different. There is a competition, there is curiosity in you, and of course you're a bit engaged and involved as well. But when you are living remotely or you have other prior commitments, and how do you stay engaged and motivated throughout the process?
Right. A very good question that you have asked, and it's very important because when we talk about underserved areas, the remote areas where we haven't reached, so digital technology can actually help. And many experiments have been done with regard to this. Students are curious to learn.
Yes.
We have to provide them the right kind of infrastructure. So the schools, the industrial training institutes, or ITIs, polytechnics,
Hmm.
Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendras, institutions under Deen Dayal Upadhyay Kaushal Yojana.
Yeah.
There are a whole lot of centers now available
Yes.
in our country. There's no dearth of skill centers now.
True.
But the students have to take initiative to go to these centers, learn about what is happening there, how they can help them. There are various schemes now, scholarships, and even now loans are available for the vocational students.
Hmm.
The many nationalized banks are offering loans for the vocational
Oh,
students.
yes.
So this is what the students have to come forward. That is one thing. The initiative has to come from the student. The second is there are people, even the retired people or community members, who are there to assist them in terms of providing facilities or making facilities available.
Hmm.
So they can approach them. Now, there are mobile training units also.
Okay.
Many companies, as part of their CSR or NGOs or
Uh-huh.
voluntary organizations or philanthropic organizations, have started mobile training units. So they can learn through these mobile training units. But they should have that attitude. And that is why I said when we talk of 3H, that heart has to be there.
So you can say you're saying that there are plenty of resources to learn, and that's incredibly wonderful. Especially that you
Right,
talked about, mobile laboratories, wherein you're
right.
actually going to their doorstep and making them learn. Now,
Yes,
we're talking about Kaushal Vikas, skill development these days in a big way. You're right. There's no dearth of resources and skill centers in the country, but we have diverse learners, and we have different learning styles as well,
Right.
like visual, auditory. Now, how do you think that it impacts virtual teaching methods? Can it arouse the same kind of curiosity in the students? Does it make them really sharp, and does it help them enhance their creativity skills and problem solving skills?
So when we talk about diverse learners, as you rightly said,
Mm,
there's a VARC system:
yeah.
visual, auditory, reading, and kinesthetic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, many students they are interested in learning through kinesthetic,
Yeah.
learning by doing,
True.
participating in sports activity, music activity, arts
Mm-hmm.
activity, many other vocational activities that we need to bring in our schools.
True.
Then only you will be able to cater to the diverse learners. So that is one thing. The second is we have to provide a lot of skill training opportunities, skill education opportunities in our schools, which are very limited.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why NEP has recommended that we should implement vocational education at an early age.
Yes.
And grabbing this opportunity, the National Curriculum Framework for School Education 2023 has recommended that we should start vocational education from grade 6 onwards, that
That's
is
right.
at the middle stage.
True.
And I'm happy to tell you that we have already introduced vocational education in grade 6,
Mm-hmm.
and the textbook or the activity book, I would say, has been developed by the NCERT, published by the NCERT, and it is named as Kaushal Bodh. And this Kaushal Bodh is project based, has a project based learning approach.
Okay.
So, where we have given six projects related to various
Mm-hmm.
work forms, which is like life forms, machines and materials, and human services. So, in all these, we have given two projects. So, there are six projects,
Okay.
and the student has to opt for one project
Right.
in each of these work forms.
Now,
So,
yeah.
yeah, in a year, he'll be doing or she will be doing three projects.
Mm.
And
That.
through that activity based learning, they will get an opportunity for diverse learning, for identifying their skills, identifying their capacities,
Hmm.
about identifying their abilities, and then they can make an informed choice after 8th standard where they want to go.
Right.
We have also come out with a vocational interest inventory, which is an online system, and it is available on the CIT platform.
Right.
Um,
So you're
can be
absolutely
utilized
right.
for.
And now I'm so sorry I had to cut you short
Yeah,
because we are running short of time. But you're right, because when I was a student, we used to do activities as well, like embroidery, cooking. But that was part of an extracurricular activity. But today we
yeah,
are
it was
looking at it,
SUPW,
you know,
socially useful productive
yeah,
work.
through the lens of a career perspective, and that's great. Now, sir, we do not have enough time left, so very briefly, I would like you to answer this important question, that no teaching learning process is complete without assessment, feedback, and evaluation. So, sir, your thoughts on the same very briefly.
So, to address this assessment and evaluation system, NCRT has come out with the guidelines for the holistic progress. So, for monitoring the holistic progress of a child
Right.
through holistic progress card.
Mm-hmm.
So I would request the audience to please visit the website of NCRT, especially the Parak,
Okay.
where they will find all these template and the guidelines for the holistic progress card.
Right.
Wherein it's not just about assessment of the child by their teacher. It is also about self-assessment, peer assessment, and parents' involvement in
Absolutely.
assessment.
Because we have
So
so
this is a
many.
holistic assessment approach that we
Yeah.
are now taking to
Yes.
address the progress of the child, to address
Abs-
the achievements of the child, rather
absolutely.
than just looking at the scores and
Oh,
marks, which I
yes, yes.
mentioned
We have so
earlier.
many stakeholders, teachers,
Yeah,
parents, and children, and everybody has something to receive from this virtual skill lab. Now, thank you so
right.
much, Professor Mehrotra, for your time and contribution to the session. It was indeed delightful and, of course, very informative. Thank you so much once again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Namaskar.
Namaste. And now, viewers, it's time for me to wrap up today's session. Today, we talked about a virtual skill lab on day 3 of a training program of ours titled Digital Initiatives for Transforming Education. We are wrapping up the session over here. Tomorrow, we'll come up with another session, and you can watch all the details of the same on our CIET website. We have been telling you about the same, but with this, it's a wrap. And before I leave, let's take a quick look at the schedule. In a short while from now, you can watch our session Sahyog, titled Unlocking the Power of Inner Smile, a key to emotional well-being. And these are the programs that you've been watching since morning, and they are available on our YouTube handle NCERT Official. So this is me, Harpreet Kaur, taking leave of you. Namaskar.